Secretary of State of Ohio, November 8th. Not only did this happen to her, it's happened to so many people across the country. But she has fought over and over just to be able to run. She started on the Republican ticket. She got almost double needed to run as a Republican. The Board of Elections counting her signatures that she acquired, I think it was less than a month. She had almost 2,000.
10 days.
10 days.
10 days. We got them in 10 days.
The current incumbent got over 5,800 signatures, 28 days to run as an independent. She was certified. She's not a write-in. She's not, she was certified to run as an independent. And they fought her again on a weekend. They filed a protest. An individual person filed against her signature. So they had a hearing, and they determined that a former judge that's not even a judge anymore, and she got kicked out of her hearing for that to get her certified back on the ballot. So long story short, they recommended that they strike the ballot. Supreme Court of Ohio. She required me to do, and the people in our state, to file a pro-suit and fight against the tyranny that we've been the last couple of years. So I can't Tori, Mary.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Really hot in here. Give me a second. Let me take this jacket off and get comfy. I'm really late and I apologize. It's just 10 minutes, but that's pretty good for me. Because I'll be late to my own funeral. I say that and watch that happen. I'm late because I had to stop off at another city on the way here, and I had no idea where I'm going. And yes, I have a Tesla, so I have to make sure I have enough battery because I don't have any solar panels or anything. I need a generator for my truck to put gas into it to, power it sometimes. The exciting news is that today we filed a lawsuit in the Supreme Court of Ohio for now. And I think that's a testament to what I stand for. Because normally someone that fights so hard to just get on the ballot, which was an achievement on its own, just in elections in general, first woman independent for a statewide race, all that, like not write-in, not, for state house that has happened before, but statewide ballot, right? That's a big deal, and we've just broken that chain of thought that, we have to be part of the party system. And see, this goes down to free speech, and that is exactly why I'm fighting. See, the First Amendment is first for a reason. Without free speech, we have no say in it. And the second is there to protect it, of course, right? But what people don't seem to understand is that all of these politicians are just like the intellectuals. They do not believe in free speech. They do not believe in the individual. And this is fact, because they've institutionalized our society from years before. From industrializing school sessions, right? And institutionalization is kind of just keeping order and having leaders. It's like prisoners. Why do they have a problem when they come out of prison to integrate? Because they're used to structure, being told when to eat, when to sleep, when to walk, when to talk. Everyone in this room is also institutionalized. You just don't know it yet. You think what you're saying is free speech as an individual, but unfortunately, it's based on our demographic and where we were born, where we came from, right? Our ideas are actually influenced, right, by our immediate community. And this is how intellectuals see us. They see us as groups. They do not believe in individual thought. And your ballot at the ballot box is exactly that. It represents your voice of what you want. How many of you get mailings for years now from your GOP or Democrat, parties giving you a card of how to vote? This is how you vote. How many in your county send you, this is how you vote? Right? Because you're not allowed to think for yourself. You're not allowed to speak for yourself. And this is why they fought me. Not because, I am saying the wrong things. There's a lot of people that love to hate me. But when they listen to me, they're just like, okay, well, she's speaking common sense, so this is weird. She's not supposed to. She's supposed to be some far-right lunatic or far-left lunatic, right? I'm both. The stuff I see online, I'm like, what else did I do? And it's true. They're fighting me for what I represent. And the fact that I made it on the ballot upsets them more than anything. Could you imagine if we were the first state in the nation to unseat an incumbent and have an independent win? They'll lose their minds. Because that'll just be the first match lit to let the whole nation go on fire. I hear so many talking points from the right. Well, the leftists want this and they just call everything racist, right? But let's think about it for a second. The redistricting. Both sides can agree it sounds a little bit dubious, right? I can tell you my district in downtown Cleveland runs all the way down to Akron, Ohio. Like, excuse me, I'm sorry, what do I have in common with someone in Akron when I'm in downtown Cleveland? I'll tell you what it is. They distribute, the demographics to get a more vanilla and whatever it is they want to represent. So then, let's take, for example, the communities in Hamilton County, Franklin County, what we call the ghettos, or the Appalachians, where people still live on buses, right, out there. How are they represented when their voices are being diluted with the people that enrich the pockets of those that run? They're not heard, right? They're not heard at all. Quaker City, are they heard? No. Those are just Amish people and religious kooks, right? So what do? They intertwine votes from more industrialized areas that have heavy cash, right? And even those voices that are conservative are smothered, and you are not allowed to speak. This is how they push these cottage laws, where you're not allowed to sell your own food and milk, right? Rainwater, you're arrested. But that's food to God. Why can't I have that? Because we said so. Is the response you will get, right? This is how they operate. So this election, and me just being on the ballot, has irritated them. Because I've just forged a pathway to say, no, don't roll over, take them on, right? And I did it without calling any of my rich friends, without going to all those influencers that people know I communicate with, people know I dine with, people know it. I know my campaign team does. They're like, and it's like, no. We need to show people that you don't need corporate money, you don't need someone with a title or a tiara, or an influencer. Influencer? You want to talk influence? Twitch. They have 8 billion channels on there, right? 8 billion. Not 8 million, billion with a B. I was 908 in the world of the most popular channel. Okay, I want you guys to conceive that idea. Okay? 908. At one point I was 893. And they banned me. And the Times had it right. This woman says she only has 27 followers. Don't listen. She's smart. She has digital camouflage and hides her listeners. And that's true. Because I'm intimidating myself. Could you imagine if they could see my number? They do know my numbers. My podcast is on iTunes, top 50 in the world in news commentary for 5 years straight. On Spotify, I was third. It would be Joe Rogan, it would be Rush Limbaugh, Joe Rogan, and me. And they banned me within a week. We can't have her number 3. Get out. And it's not because I'm radical. I don't tell people to go fight. In fact, I'm like, don't protest, don't do stuff like that. This is 2022. We don't need to do that. We don't need to take up arms, right? We're civilized, and we need to use the laws. And the fact that we're still free on paper. So if I'm not radical, why was I silenced? Oh, that's because I meet in the middle. Huh? She promotes Trump theories. Let's talk about that conspiracy theory of election theft. Let's rewind to 2004, because it seems like the world has gotten serious amnesia. In 2004, the first elections ever recorded to be stolen were right here in Ohio. Right? Right here in Ohio. And who stole them? The Republicans. And who was in the middle of that? Karl Rove, George Bush, right? It was right after 9/11, right? Stolen. And then the conversation went away. Why? Because the guy who they caught doing most of this died in a plane crash. So, oh, well, put that under the bed. Is he dead? He could be in Costa Rica drinking somewhere under another identity. Not ruling that out. But he could just be dead because they don't value life. They value their pockets and their status. And so the first fraud that ever happened here in Ohio 17 years ago. Exactly 17 years ago. And it seems like everyone forgot that. Oh, that was a conspiracy. How is it a conspiracy theory when there was a congressional hearing and the guy said, look, I invented this software because George Bush hired me. And I mean, somebody else did. And it was a Chinese company called Gang. And here's how you click on it. And it's like, oh, let's just forget that happened. Nothing to see here. Hey, everybody, look at this nice backsplash. We've got a great new HGTV show coming. Just focus there. That's exactly what happened. You've been completely distracted and people have amnesia. It's a conspiracy theory. And, you know, in 2004, when this was created, right, because it was a race, those Chinese, what Curtis did, right, it was created by the Department of Defense. And that guy then became CIA director. And Paul Brinkley was his man. You know who Paul Brinkley is? He's the CEO of Cerberus, BlackRock. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? So they created it, and guess this, there's receipts, I have the receipts, we paid for it, tax dollars. And you know where they invented all this? At some house in Virginia, because that's where the receipts went to. A few $100,000 that we paid for this software went there. And then what we did was, we sold the machines after we got caught, right, to Venezuela. Right, so there was some merit mentioning Venezuela, but it wasn't what they said. See, this is what they do. When they infiltrate, they give you half-truth, and then they make you look crazy. We didn't get anything from, you know, Chavez. But what we did was, we said, hey, Chavez, you're a dictator, right? You want to look like you're a democratic guy, not a dictator? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take all our machines, buy them for pennies on a dollar. We sold them from MacDill Air Force Base. And what we're going to do is we're going to send our guys, and we're going to tweak the algorithm to make it even more realistic. We'll be able to predict. You let us train this for you, and you'll be fine. And that's how the Venezuela story comes. Now you know some facts. So poor Sidney Powell was targeted by people who were talking half-truths. Right? Half-truth is like half information. Right? It's half-baked. You don't like to eat half-baked cakes, do you? You're either going to eat it raw, right, and lick the spoon, or you're going to eat it cooked if it's half-baked. It's crappy. You don't want to eat it. And that's the way truth is, too. We need to have transparency and truth. So where's the transparency and truth in Ohio? This is what I filed today. I'm an independent, right? I'm on the ballot, right? Do I not have the same rights as a Democrat and a Republican on the ballot? I should, right? I don't. Apparently, I'm not allowed to observe the polls. I'm not allowed to observe them counting ballots. You, as an independent, cannot walk in there as an independent. Independents are used as floaters. Oh, we're short a Democrat, you fill in. We're short a Republican, you fill in. Wait, where do the people in the middle stand? Guess what? You don't fit anything. You're not allowed to think for yourself. You're either part of the GOP or part of the DNC. See, this is where it goes back to the intellectuals. They don't believe in free speech because technically you don't have it. You've been conditioned by marketing, media, your neighbors, your easy. Everybody has Facebook, right? Ellie loves she thrives on it because she likes to listen to authority. And as she does it, she gets rewarded by her parents. She goes to church, even though she goes to church for, I don't know, fashion show or to show that she's important and my family's amazing, we're sucks, right? For the wrong reasons. And she gets rewarded. She gets rewarded for not wearing one, but 2 masks. She gets rewarded for, baking cookies for the PTA because, she can do that because, she has a husband that works, right? And she can be afforded that lifestyle that I still wanted so bad. I wanted to be a housewife. Since, I was told not to be a nun, I really wanted to be a housewife. I wanted to raise a football field of a family. Like if someone asked me, what would you do? I'd go back, marry for money so I could just be a housewife, and that's it. Just have a ton of kids. This is me, raw. This is how I feel. So Ellie is institutionalized, right? Her friend Helen isn't. Her friend Helen works. She raises a family, goes to church, but doesn't bake cookies all the time. Isn't able to go to all the games all the time. Tries. She goes to anything she can. She participates in her community. And when the government tells you, drink your tap water, she's like, they're telling me to do this. I don't think I want to do it. When the government says, wear all the masks till you can't breathe, she sits there and says, oh, I don't think so, and shares fun memes. And then when elections come along, Helen's like, this guy's just saying the same thing that guy's saying, that. No, I like this guy. He's bold. I like him. Let me share his stuff. Ellie gets upset. How are you not institutional? I thought we were friends. So Ellie starts reporting her. You all have friends like that, right? And then, obviously, here's why. Here's all the reports. At that point, there's a decision that Helen can make, right? All of you are on Facebook and say, look at her. Count all these times. This is a problem, right? We all need to stand together. She may not like what I have to say, but does that mean I'm not allowed to speak? And that's where the conversation starts. So we're all Helen. We're saying, Ellie, I don't like the fact that you're institutional. I don't like the fact that you're a bully and you tell people that they must follow order without questioning authority because you're better than everyone, right? I don't like that. We all have a voice. We all have our own stories. We all have our own paths that we walk in life, and we all have our own crosses to bear. So you should not tell me I cannot speak, right? And then suddenly, if Helen puts that on, then all the Helens are going to be like, hey, they're going to find a friend like me and say, hey, may I have the reasons as to why I was banned from Facebook or Twitter or Instagram? And then you see it's your mom reporting you, right? I'm just saying, or your neighbor that just brought you cookies over with a smile, and she's like, you need to shut up. Even though you accept the fact that she's like quadruple vaxxed. And, she said, oh, he was trying his best. And you're just like, are you serious? The guy can't tie his shoes and he's talking foreign policy. Can we all just, just be serious for a second? It's not about politics. It's about us. That's the problem. Politics is all BS. There's no truth to it. And the problem is that there's this cognitive dissonance within our society that doesn't want to accept the fact that they've been lied to. Do you know how hard it is? I'm telling you, I don't like to share this publicly, but I can tell you, I found out a truth about my family life that rocked me to the core that I wanted to tap out. I was like, okay, I'm coming my way, I'm not going to wait for you to take it. This is way too much. Because you're just like, this can't happen. How did this happen? And all of you might have Ellie friends. And you're like, how did this happen? We braided each other's hair. I was there to support you for your husband. When he left you. Or, when he cheated on you. Or when your kids scraped their knee. I was there catching your baby when it came out of you. Why would you report me to unperson me? And then it's suddenly shocking to you. Well, right now, we got to realize that all these people that we're paying with our tax dollars have been Ellies. Have been the people that have been harming us and taking advantage of that completely. And that's why I'm running. No other reason. I'm the person that's like, here's your report from Facebook. So I was kind of excited when I saw John Bolton say, yeah, I've conducted in other countries. so we can elect leaders we like. And it's like, guys, we don't always go in guns blazing. We don't send the Green Berets in, and our troops to take them down. We go in there nicely first. First, we send in a couple of protesters. Oh, you guys are having a problem. Let's step in and help you. So we create the problem to offer a solution, And then we come in, oh, you know what? How's this? They're upset that they don't feel like their voices are heard as citizens. You need elections. Let us help you. Maybe we could do this. And that was my job, to see where the weakness was in that nation and how we can amplify it. So that way we can cause the division to come in and pretend that we're causing the mending. But in essence, we were just picking their leaders for them. The leaders that would say yes to us. The leaders when we'd say, hey, jump, they'd be like, okay, how high? Do you want me to jump off or just up? Those are the leaders we want. In Iraq, we conducted over 10 elections in like a few years. Those of you that have served there know exactly what I'm talking about. It all began in 2004 collusion. All know I helped do that. In Ukraine, that was my last assignment before I got fired. I hired temporary employees and permanent employees and sent them to Ukraine to help usher elections. There's literal bills that Obama signed for that. And you know what happened? Joe Biden went, hey, you don't do it, you're not getting money. Remember the Joe statement? And then suddenly his son's on the board, and then suddenly there's elections, and then suddenly they stop counting in the middle of the night, and then suddenly the guy that Joe wanted to remain president and got the prosecutor out is now president again. And then let's fast forward to some Ohio politics. In 2019, I was on my show in February telling people, hey guys, there's a soccer conference going on in Munich right now, and fortunately Schiff's there, and Biden, and Yovanovitch, who's bitching about the fact that Giuliani is in the Ukraine picking scabs, and she's upset that they made her playing gatekeeper for the DOJ when it's not her job. You're the ambassador, you just issue visas, you don't play gatekeeper. So she's upset. And they're like, yo, we gotta run Joe. We can't run Joe. They have everything on Joe. He did all this. Don't worry, we'll get the right leader in Ukraine, and we're good to go. He'll be ours. And that's what happened. I said to myself, oh, Joe's not going to announce he's running until after the Ukrainian elections. And a lot of people on Twitter were like, what do you know? He's going to run. He already said he didn't throw his hat in the race until after the perfect phone call, that was a setup, and after he was elected. And you know who went there? Well, LaRose has come out. See, when you're explaining, you're losing. He came out, oh, don't listen to her, fact check her. I only went to Ukraine because my sister is in the UN there. And it's like, okay, well, let me call some BS, Frankie, because I work that desk and I still have friends. And we're sisters in Christ, too. They're Orthodox. So, my church friends there claimed, and there's documentation, he went there with a delegation with Cindy McCain's delegation to observe Ukrainian elections. He just needed to see how you rig them perfectly with the new software and how you can say they're perfect. Absolutely perfect. And this is how we get an actor who played a president to become president. You know what many Ohioans say? Anyone in Ohio would have Biden won. Cuyahoga was a push. I was poll watching in East Cleveland, in the heart of East Cleveland. I looked super Antifa too when I was there. Right? Black hat, I took pictures of them filling out ballots outside. I reported it. I took pictures of them, getting information on the grounds where people were voting. I did all that. They just thought I was Antifa. All I had to do was put a fake nose hoop thing and wear a hat, and that was it. It was like Halloween. And so I observed the elections, and I'm going to tell you what. The majority of the people that were dropping ballots were dropping them for Trump. So I was mind-boggled to see, because I stayed there for a good 7 hours. And that was a lot of people that went through in that little library on East 100-something Street, right? We're talking hard. Like, there was like someone shot a couple days before that, 2 blocks down that way, and I drove up in a Tesla. God, he protects me. But I watched them, and they were choosing Trump. So I was confused when I saw that they were blue, because they were like this many votes. I was like, no, man, I at least, from until I went to vote, I at least saw 300, and it was less than 300. It didn't make sense to me. And the reason is because they can create the evidence. Like Rose says, oh, we have paper ballots, and we can check them. No, he doesn't. No. That's not true. It's not secure. And if you want to check them, you can pay a couple $1 million to check all of them. We'll just take a sample from wherever we want, and we'll say it's fair. And what are you going to do about it? Do you have millions of dollars sitting around to check and count? Absolutely not. Would you count every single ballot and see if there were more people voting than registered? Probably not, because you don't have the money. That's what they did to Kansas, if you remember, when they asked for the recount, right? And so he's claiming, oh, there are paper ballots, we just have computers counting them. Well, what could go wrong? It's efficient because people are too dumb to look at filled-in circles. We need computers to do that. Wrong. It's data. Ballot. He created public before the election. Get out of here. So you're spending more money to do what? Is he the police now, judge, jury? Is he arresting people? I'm just confused. And who's running this? Is this more DHS presence in our state elections? Like, let's just call them federal elections, because we have no control over it. In 2019, Frank LaRose took all our systems from the Ohio network, right, and moved them over to the .gov. That means, and it's great for us, of course. What? DHS monitors, secures, adheres to all your data, mines the crap out of it, shares this with federally regulated, of course, sources. Every single piece of data that goes through there is now federally used, owned, and mined. So where's the line between state and federal? Isn't that what makes our nation amazing? That we have individual states? I misspoke last time saying I was the only one. I was the first one, and many other parents filed lawsuits. Why? Because we have a constitution, and nobody reads it. That's why I keep telling my audience, nobody reads anymore. We literally have a constitution. What does that mean? They defined it. Medicine, devices, insurance, but you guys have been paying Obamacare fines, right? See? Where have these leaders been? Where have they been? Lining their pockets and saying, look, I raised $2 million. And it's like, hey, so that means you owe someone $2 million worth of work, and it's definitely not me. You're owned. That's where they were, raising money. Raising money and not caring about it. I left Jim Jordan. Really? Where was he? Where was he? It must have slipped him. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I actually like him. He's a wrestler. He's a fighter. But I think I have more testing than he does. Okay? Sorry, Jim. I could probably wrestle you now, 230 pounds. See, I say that probably. The thing is, we don't have anyone that'll go out there and speak truth and stand up. It doesn't matter if you get knocked down. The point is you stood up. Because if you don't stand for anything, guess what? You fall for everything. And this is where we're at, and this is what we need in Ohio. People to stand up and say these things. Stand up. I don't fit into your blue box. I don't fit definitely into your red box, because you definitely don't identify with me. You say things, and you're lying. You're telling me you're going to protect my gun rights? How? You just passed red flag laws. So I got a pissed off ex. They take my guns away, and then I have to go to a government-approved psychiatrist to say, I'm okay to carry them. Oh, God. I better be listening carefully right now. Right? And what are you saying? That's not. Actually, I myself and send emails and say, hey, J.D. Vance, you're on the ballot. J.D. Vance, right? Yeah. Hey, you're on the ballot, and according to the law, I have to ask you to sponsor me to be able to have an independent observer at the polls, even though I should have the same rights as you do. But would you allow me? I want you to know that nobody responded to that email. Not even J.D. Vance, not even the Democrats. I mean, obviously Frank Rose wouldn't. I don't think we sent it to him. There's no point. He's in complete disregard for the law. And I was like, did you recorded his speech like, I'm going to fight for small businesses like I do in my office. I'm fantastic. You know what I do? When I open up a business, I get excited. And I'm like, what? I have people there that guide you through the process of filing the first articles and tell you the stuff you have to do. How many of you have your own business in here? Okay. Did you guys have that excitement at the secretary? Did they offer you help with stuff? Like tell you what you need for EINs and stuff? Right? So I'm like, why would he say something that could easily be fact checked? Because when you go there, you're like, hey, I'm ready to open up a business. They're like, yeah, there's like paperwork right there. Thank bye. Yeah. And you're just like, okay, well, what do I do? Yeah, you need to get advice from a lawyer or tax preparer. We do not give advice. And I'm like, so why did you say that? Again, lying politicians. You know? And I had someone say, I love what you do, Tori, but you don't talk like a politician. I was like, so you're upset that I'm not a liar? Okay. Well then, I guess, you just keep repeating what you're doing and expect a different result, right? Because that's exactly why Trump ran as a Republican. Do you guys remember what he said? What did he say when he said why he ran as a Republican? Do you remember?
Because Republicans are stupid.
Yeah. He said Republicans are stupid. Was he right? Yes. Because at least the Democrats know they're insane. They just don't like the Republicans because they believe that they're all about corporations when Facebook and all of them are on the left. So it's like, wait a minute, look at where all the corporations are really sitting. Mostly over there. And the reason he said it is because Republicans are so dumb that they will vote the same way, thinking that they're going to get a different result. And I think it was Einstein that said that's literally the definition of insanity. Okay? So when I see comments on Facebook, oh, you're going to dilute the vote. I'm not going to dilute the vote if you vote for me. If you all walk away from the matrix that they put you in, pick blue or red, you agree with what the left said on this. You're just like disenfranchised. You're like, wait a minute, both of them are crazy. And that's the way it is. And the right is crazier than the left. You think the left is crazy, right? They're just brainwashed. And they literally believe the things they say. Republicans will do things that they don't believe are correct. I see people tell me all the time, I'm pro-life. You better be pro-life, because I won't vote for you. Nothing. I'm so pro-life, I cringe when President Trump said capital punishment. Okay? You can't be selectively pro-life. Right? I was upset when he said it. I was like, who advised him to say that? Because I know he's not one to kill. And I had a problem with that when I meet with soldiers. So many times I've worked intimately with soldiers and Marines. Be like, I'm going to crush the skulls of my enemy. And I was like, how are you Christian? We're at war, but that doesn't mean we kill. We can disable, we don't kill. I have weapons on me all the time, but I would never shoot to kill. Ever. And I train my children like that too. You do not shoot to kill because you have no right to take someone's life. I don't care if it's in the womb. I don't care if they're a murderer. I can tell you, I was going to commit murder. I admit it. At one point in my life, I was like, I even told the cops, if you don't do something about this, you're going to collect me because I'm going to jail. And I'm going to be fine with them. We've all come to that point. And I probably would have because I saw red and I just didn't care about myself at that point. You know when you're that angry? But we always have to contemplate and think, do I really want to do that? I don't want to take a life. That's the worst thing. It's not yours to take. Regardless of how crappy they are, this is hell, let them live it. And our hell here in Ohio is all the doors of hell are locked from the inside. You just need to open the door. And right now, that's what we're doing. We're doing repetitive things, expecting a different vote. We need to vote Republican. We can't have a Democrat. Democrats aren't even coming out to Democrat functions. Nobody knows she's existing. And I'll tell you what, polls, I do my own. And I don't go to, places. I stop at drive-thrus. My campaign will tell you. They'll be on the phone sometime. Be like, wait, I'm getting coffee. And I'll be like, hey. So when you go to the voting booth and and you have your ballot, and you see, like, for Secretary of State, since elections are important, Republican, Democrat, Independent, who are you voting for? Guess what they always say? Independent. Because they're tired of the corporate money. I only won, people just don't know it. I have the left's vote. I don't have to work hard. Because they're already woke. I'm not talking about the Karens, the institutionalized Karens, right? They're like, just do the right thing, okay? Don't question authority. Mind your, the ones that their kid will be screaming in the market and they'll say, mind your words, when it's like, when we get home, right, that, you know which one I'm talking about. The parents are like, mind your words, and their kid like railroads, and they're like, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know, discipline, But the left, the actual left, the one that they pander to, the ones that they radicalize, they're voting for me, right? I was in Marietta College yesterday. They all hated it. Because I was going to start talking, and then I was like, you know what? No, they're all liars. That's how I started. They used it telling you that they had these successes, but what they did, they excuse my French. They violated the Ohio State Constitution and locked us in our homes, right? Mandated that we get vaccines that they never tested that had just a little bit of HIV in it, right? Didn't tell anyone about it, though, right? They didn't tell people, we banded that mRNA with a little bit of HIV, don't worry. And you're just like, wait, a little bit of AIDS sounds like a little bit of pregnant. What's this, right? So this is what we had, and they're like, we had successes. I'm like, oh man, they're from another dimension, because that's impossible. Then you had Nan Whaley coming out, great spiel, and then in the end she's like, I empowered Jobs Ohio. And I was like, wait guys, Jobs Ohio, let me tell you about that one. So when Frank LaRose was a legislator, he pushed Jobs Ohio, which is a private nonprofit. Guess who pushed it? His daddy, House LaRose. Jobs Ohio stands for Jobs Ohio Beverage Services. It is a House LaRose alcohol distributing private nonprofit, which, by the way, partners with the World Economic Forum, hence his sister getting a job at the UN, and his brother sits on the board. And yet everyone's like, Frank's all about America. No, he's about the and the West. And that's the proof in the pudding. Let him explain that away, because you could go to the World Economic Forum, search. Jobs Ohio comes out as a World Economic Forum partner. Oh, but conspiracy, get out of here. This is the problem that we have. We're not having honest conversations, and then when honesty walks in, it's like, nobody wants to hear the truth. I'm more than qualified to be Secretary of State. I know exactly what we need. No machine. Easy. You can't have paper, right? And when I was talking with MSNBC the other day, they were like, how do you feel about job boxes? I was like, no, I don't feel them at all right now, because I got an email from LaRose saying, well, I'm updating ballots, and I'm emailing it to them in a PDF so they can print it out. And I was like, wait a minute, what? They're printing ballots off from a PDF? No problem right there. How many of you have fudged PDFs before, right? Am I right? And it's like, are you kidding? How is that secure? I have no problem with mail drop boxes as long as I can verify the ballot. And so that's why I think next week we should have the first sample in our hands. I go to a gas station with tumbleweeds, and I pay him with $5. He takes a pen, and you can check if it's real or not. Well, that's the same technology I'm putting in ballots. Same technology, so I don't care where you are. You can drop it on the street for all I care. Stick it on the window of your election board, right? I don't care. You can bring sacks of it. I'm going to know if they're real or not, because I'm putting anti-counterfeit technology in there. I already have them ready to print. And guess how much it's going to cost our state to print 8 million of them? I want you to take a wild guess. Just give me a number. Random. 18 more. $2.5 million. That's it. You know how much we're spending on machines? What about contractors? We're talking millions upon millions upon millions. 10 million for just one county. Think about it. And not only that, we require secrecy. Kim Wolf, trust us. We don't take breaks. And you know what? I spoke to the farmer today. What happened? My farms, they're dry. You know, it's winter's coming and I needed a good wet season for the final push so that I could do whatever the hay thing or something he said. I don't know, I'm not a farmer. I mean, I own olive trees, I don't, my kids do. I didn't take them to myself, right? But I don't know what that tech is. And I said, don't worry, it'll rain. I guess my little dance outside looking for my cigarette that fell in my lap. Oh, that's why I stopped. So, rain is good. So now, we are in a position where we have ballots that we can't verify, machines that we're not allowed to inspect to see how they count, right? Because it's for your security, of course. Because it only encrypts and decrypts, and it's like, no, it doesn't. In the decryption phase, it gives instructions. Well, how do you know that? Because I was there when they planned it. They literally had the conversation in front of me. Like, that was the plan. That's how we sell it to them. That we anonymize the vote so you can have security so nobody knows how you vote, which is also BS. So then the next question for us is, why are they so adamant about using machines? And it's pretty simple. Data. Data, data, data. That's a new goal. With data, you can find out what every neighborhood likes and doesn't like. I check your text, your Facebook, your Google Maps, which is, by the way, CIA. I hope everyone's aware that Alphabet Inc. is the CIA. I'm going to make that as clear as possible, okay? So they have everything about you, and now they're going to take the way you vote, too. And you're going to say, well, what benefit is that? I'm going to vote however I want. Will you, though? When you get audited? Will you, though? When you get targeted? Will you, though? When your Ellie friend comes along and starts reporting you? Will you? It's only a matter of time. And look at them. Are they campaigning? Tell me. How hard are they campaigning? Not at all. Why? Because they already have the data. They're only going to go to places they know need that little nudge to come over to their side. Well, those people are on the fence, so we're going to go over there and talk to them. Because the data says we should. And it's genius, really. Pure institutionalization. Buy our stuff, obey our stuff, consume our stuff, and we'll consume you too. And you say thank you, and you pay them for doing it. It sounds like a bad deal to me. And it sounds really hard for the people that don't get it and are starting to get it. And there's a campaign event that I was hoping I would have it going for Monday, but it's not. It's a little bit different. It's never been done, I don't think, in history. But during that event, which I will be hosting in various cities in Ohio, free admission, I think a lot of people will understand the whole picture. They will understand, and it'll be painful, but they will get it. Because it's all about delivering the message. See, Trump, when he ran, rubbed people the wrong way because he was very blunt. And only blunt people that like the truth were like, yeah, give me more. I like this. Other people were like, yeah, you need to stop right now because I'm feeling really uncomfortable and I'm questioning my reality. Because you sound super sane, right? And that's why they attacked him. Of course, he was a racist, right? But I tell people, it was part of my curriculum in New York to know that he won an award with Rosa Parks. I'm really confused because he was the first guy to throw a gay wedding when it wasn't in style before. And when he would be by people off this planet too, if that's the case. Because people forget, liar, liar, very big liar. But he was always the one not drinking at the parties. And he was always the one watching. You know, because then you see people, he was with Epstein. Of course it was, I was with Epstein. There might be pictures of me around Epstein. At a base in Japan, in Iraq, right? And in DC. He was everywhere. So I saw a circle, so we're going to go guilty by association. Great. Then everybody should leave office. Even those that have their names on the list. I mean, how is Bob Menendez still in office? I don't know. But anyway, that guy's such a pervert. So, the thing that we have here in Ohio is to understand that heart of the nation is Ohio. You know, that's what the logo was, right? The logo, the slogan.
The heart of it all.
The heart of it all. Heart of all of America, I guess. And now it's find it here. Yeah. So we used to be the heart. And now we're telling people, hey, you want to come find your spine? Isn't it? And that's what we should do. We should set the tone and terrify them. This is how you fight. You fight by taking a stand. You fight by saying, yeah, you think? Look, you raised all this. Remember when the New Jersey guy won with like $200 budget? They lost their mind. They're like, yeah, this is not happening again. And they made sure of it. Look how many people they fought. They fought them hard, and they can fight me too. I've been fighting for a long time by myself. I've been railroaded. You know, if I had the money Trump had, I wouldn't have any civil suits on me. People would have been out the door already. But I have faith in the courts. And we have to. Because if we walk into situations thinking the worst, well, the worst is going to come. Right? And I said this. We can have a corrupt legislative branch, which, by the way, ours is terrible. The local one, super terrible. Right? They're the ones that made an exception to the rule to allow Frank to be a federal employee as well as a state employee, right? They passed a law saying he could be a DHS advisor. That's a big deal. I think, you know, everyone should say, Frank, who are you talking for? The federal government or state government? I'm confused. You gotta wear different hats so we understand who you're speaking for. Are you speaking for Pfizer? The pedophile, First Energy, like, who's talking for you right now? Because there's $50,000 here, $300,000 there. They didn't just give it to you because you're cute, because you're not. Maybe Amanda Granton might think so, but they don't, right? So who is it that you need to represent you, right? Then go free. Want more of the same? Then you go free. You want someone that did campaign and she went through that program, ran for something where they literally auditioned people. They said it on NBC. We have a great program, by the way. We, cast great people that we could put in positions, and we just surround them with all the right people to help them do their job. And it's like, okay, so now we're admitting we have public. Come here, baby face. I have a listener that has 4 legs. Oh my God. So this is exactly where Ohio's in. We have to decide, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we going to play the game? Oh, but what if we get a Democrat? No. What's coming in the next couple of weeks ain't going to be fun, and we might not, well, I've said it before, we might not even have elections. Right? I mean, on precedent, another person was added to the ballot. What is it, a day ago, 2 days ago? The Democrat? Was it yesterday? Yesterday. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? It's less than 30 days and she just got added to the ballot? How's that work? Oh, but it's okay, the show must go on. Are you kidding me? Like, if I was her, I'd be like, yo, let's postpone this. And I'd be like, yeah, let's do that, because we don't need the machines. We need to get Ohioans in tables so they can start counting with their eyes, you know? Because they're not stupid like Karen Kessler of State News said. Oh my God, like she expects people to count, and it's like, did she just say that out loud and thought it was a great idea? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was the same one that said she didn't have enough signatures, and it's like, no, the correct thing was Frank LaRosa's office instructed Board of Elections that I would have gotten an endorsement that would have knocked them out of the water. Sure. Wasn't he the one that told Trump to get over it? And then right? But in Ohio, you did fine, but just get over it. And it's like, but then, like a little thirsty one, he attaches himself to J.D. Vance. He's like, yeah, let's get him. And he didn't get one, remember? The last rally? Right? He didn't get one. He didn't get one. We have the 2 Supreme Court justices who, hello, why do we have parties for our justices? Isn't the law supposed to be without political party?
Yes.
And then we complain, oh, they're a liberal judge. Yes. And then we complain, oh, they're a liberal judge. And it's like, you're the one that's giving them titles, you're allowing them to participate in politics, and then you complain that they have liberal views when you literally run them as Democrat. And now it's conservative. Well, we can't Republican. Are you kidding? are we politicizing justice? It's either the law or it isn't. It is the way it is. I was disappointed yesterday because Judge Zayas, who is she, the Supreme Court Justice? She's a Democrat. She's a New Yorker.
Yeah.
She's a New Yorker, right? And I know her story. And you know how I vote for judges? Hi. You know how I vote for judges? I look at their cases and I see their decisions. I'm going to tell you, I've never seen such a good judge. I'm being dead honest. Look at her case filings, like everything that she sat on. She has been impartial. She has been fair. She has been lenient to first offenders, right? She has been communicative, right? That's how you see how a judge is. But I was really disappointed when she was using talking points, right? Because she was running as a Democrat. I did immigration law. I did this. And I totally felt for her. She's Puerto Rican. Her mom didn't speak English, right? She was raised in Washington Heights. She was like, I was her interpreter. I see that all the time. Against that. Even if you're on vacation, you want to go to Mexico and have your kid that did 3 years of freaking Spanish interpret for you? No. When you're at the doctor's and they're asking you a real question, you don't want your kid talking for you, right? I felt for her, and I was really disappointed that she played the game. I wanted her to sit and say, my record shows that I'm impartial. She says it, I want politics out of the courtroom. Her record shows that, but her speech didn't. I was disappointed, and I bring this example up to show people that are running under tickets, not because they believe in what those tickets stand for, but because they believe that's the only way they win. Right? And President Trump ran as a Republican. He wouldn't have won as an independent first go around. Second time around, yeah, he will. But first time around he did it. What he wanted to do, and what's genius, is that he owns the Republican Party now. What he says is gold. When people say, why would he endorse Oz? Because Oz will win. And he needs to show the GOP, I am the GOP. And as he has the GOP in his hand, he could simply do this, crumble. Yeah, let's get rid of the parties. Let's fix this country. He could do that. You all know it. I know it, right? You know it. If he wants to, can he not do that? If he says, both parties suck, it's over. I'm putting together a J6 documentary. I have footage more than anyone ever. I have it from lefty sources. I got Capitol footage too. Sorry, Nancy, you shouldn't have given it to your daughter. And I'll tell you what. The Republicans helped orchestrate that. The Republicans helped steal the election. The Republicans did all of that. Remember, who was the one fighting him the most while he was in office? The Republicans. He was in office and we had a Republican Senate and a Republican Congress. What happened? Absolutely nothing. Right? And then they were, the Democrats won, so we lose. And it's like, are you serious? You had time to do whatever. And that would have been momentum to help the liberals see that that's the right thing to do. But instead, you play politics. So if Ohio's tired of playing politics, they vote for me. If you're tired of BS, you vote for me. If you want your businesses to thrive, you vote for me. That's how it works. If you want more of the same, then you should just vote for everybody else, because then you're fine. You like your institution? Feel free. I ran to bring awareness. And I'm going to be fully transparent. I ran simply to be able to sue the crap out of the state for having these machines. But, truth be said, I am the most qualified person to be seriously. I don't have a degree in business. Actually, I'm 3 courses short. And actually, if you read my court transcripts where they slandered me, you'll see that they even made known publicly that I had been diagnosed with cancer, and that's why I pulled out of my MBA. But that became public, but it's no big deal, because it's okay for me, but it's, illegal for everyone. And don't forget, it was the chief, Attorney General of North Dakota, who's now dead, because he killed himself when he was getting indicted. But, deleted all his emails, 23 years worth. But you know, I digress. I'm just saying things. I'm very qualified. I have rigged elections, but I was more of the point of hijacking the minds of the nations and finding their pain points. Like, what is it that bothers them? Like, if someone would tell me right now, what is it that East Cleveland needs, right? I would tell you what they need is structure. They have no structure. What they need is communication. They hate the police because they don't have them. It's a revolving door in Cleveland. They've got like 5 people that have been in there for 30 years and everybody else is there 6 months and they're out. It's a revolving door. Why? They get paid nothing. Why are they going to listen? Or maybe we should send them like 100 slow workers. So when they're like, hey, someone's knocking down my door and they're with a gun. Sure, just negotiate, give them what they want, and just step away, stay away from the conflict. No, you want a cop and be like, I'll be there in 5 seconds. You just stay in, okay? That's what you want. So, I would like to know if anybody has any questions, you know? Because right now, there's going to be a lot of questions. I wonder what the media is going to say about my lawsuit. Are they going to say, oh, she's an election denier? Actually, I want elections. You guys are the ones denying elections to people, right? I want elections. And I've told the judge, I'm entitled to watch, and I'm allowed to inspect how they count. I should see that your vote comes out the other end as your vote. But I'm not allowed. So we'll just have the courts decide that. So this is fun, because it's, what is it? The Republican judges, they have to decide. And the Republican voters are totally watching Pat and Fisher. So if you say that we're not allowed to see, I don't think you're elected either. So this is fair game. This is chess. So with that, any questions?
The Secretary of State, one of the things that Secretary of State does is license marriages. Can you explain that?
Okay, so great one. Ooh. Can I ask you guys a question? Do you know if the BMV is a public or private entity?
It's private, it's a corporation.
It's actually private. It's a franchise. And guess what? Just like a McDonald's, you can open up your own BMV.
So is the Supreme Court.
Well, yes, technically, but I'm saying that it is actually a private organization. I didn't know that until I got in trouble. Ask me why I got in trouble. My 16-year-old went to get her license, right? Finally, because we had to get paperwork, and it's been really, really hard. For people that don't have problems with getting identity documents together, right? You wouldn't understand. I mean, the radical left just keeps calling racism, but it's actually a very difficult task when you need to get your identity checked. That's a tedious task, and they have you running in circles, and it's bureaucratic. Everyone's getting free state ID. And I'm going to deprivatize the BMV, and we're going to help people that have issues get damn IDs for free. Because if we're demanding that they show it for anything, we've got homeless people that want to get back on track and they can't. Marriage licenses is another one. Divorce. All of that. As a secretary, he's supposed to keep that in check. Ask him if that check's not very good. Because he's outsourced everything. So when I took my daughter, you know, I complained that they weren't following what the court said, right? And they were like, yeah. So this is the state one side, right? So there's 2 sides. Where you take your test is state one. Where you get your license, and your license plate is owned by some guy. So at the state one, the state employees violated a court order and said, well, we'll just have the other people fix it on the other side. And I'm like, why? You don't need to put it in wrong in the first place. Here's the court order. Here's how you do it. Yeah, we're not doing that. Here's how we do it. And then the lady wanted to remove me because I took a picture of them doing that so that I can go to the victim advocate and say this is what they did. Right? You can't take a picture. I was like, yes, I can. Of course I can. I'm in a public place. She called the cops. The cops were like, she can totally take a picture. Like, there's cameras. There's no expectation of privacy. Right? They got upset. So the private side fixed it, but on the government side, guess what? They violated a court order. Explain. just like the marriages and divorces, just like title deeds. It's a hot mess. They delete, add, delay, and they're all numbered wrong. Oh, by the way, they're not private anymore, so this is why you can find your name and voter registration on Rock the Vote. They sell everything. You have no privacy. So the question is, what kind of money did they make by providing this information? Did they? Maybe not. Maybe it was, I scratched it. George Soros is an American citizen and he deserves the right to help us vote and get registered. And it's all sanctioned by Frank LaRose, who, by the way, also got funded by open societies. And you can check that in his donations. He's literally funded by George Soros, and people are like, he's a Republican, I'm voting for him. And I'm like, okay, then you deserve exactly what you get when you say things like that. I can only sit here and speak truth. I can only show you the truth. What you do is what you do with it. And I don't see anybody else standing over here working for you. LaRose didn't work for you with the mask mandate. He wore 2 masks, right? He let businesses shut down. He told businesses that it's okay to fire you if you don't take an experimental vaccine. He told supermarkets that they have the right to tell you you can't enter without a mask. He told hospitals the same thing. He let doctors tell patients that they didn't get the vaccine, that they can still operate even though they discriminated against you. Is that the Secretary of State you want? Because I was in Secretary of State, and what did I do? I sued. You've seen it with the drag queen nights. You've seen it. I've seen it. My kid, I pulled her out of school district, and I'm paying an extra $1,000 a month in rent. First of all, I'm a minority, I'm Greek, and for those that don't know, right, Greeks were actually considered colored people up until the 90s. They were considered rats. This is why if you actually look at pictures with Martin Luther King Jr., who's walking beside him? A Greek Orthodox priest. That's real history people don't know, right? Because they went to colored schools, because they worked so hard, they were considered rats. But they don't ask for reparations. They just were like, wait, no one's looking, let's build some restaurants and hotels and we're good. And let's go to school and make the best out of it, and we're no longer slaves. So let's move along. But, you know, that doesn't make you campaign money, it doesn't make people polarized and angry, so, you know, because I've had these conversations with BLM chapters, I talk to them, where they're like, we need reparations, Indians, they don't think Indians are swear, need popcorn. No, because why? Times change. We start to become more human. Right? We don't hang them in the square and eat popcorn. We don't bring the kids and say, bring the marshmallows, we're going to disembowel this leaf that's stolen orange. We don't do that. Times change. So when I hear conversations, we used to have sleeves and you owe us. It's like we used to hang people and eat popcorn. We don't do that. We evolve as a society together. And what they're doing is they're shooting us back into the Stone Ages and saying, hey, you guys keep fighting when we make money and we figure out how we're going to enslave you even more. And it's going to start with the digital currency. And as Secretary of State, I'm going to tell you this. There is no way I will allow any business. Starbucks will not be allowed to operate if they do not accept cash. They will stop operations within the state of Ohio. And for those of you that get funded by Starbucks and love it, I love Starbucks too, but I'm willing to go Dunkin'. Right? Because this is America, and we choose our currency, not you. And in Ohio, Constitution talks about money too, but where's Frank LaRose on that? I hear crickets. You see what I'm saying? Where is he? Starbucks said October 1st, no more cash. They said it. So why are they operating in Ohio when they should accept legal tender? Ask those questions. Oh, I don't have the power. Yes, you do. You're the Secretary of State. You say, wait a minute, I'm in charge of business. Your business violates the Constitution in Ohio. It's great. Other states let you do it. You can't do it here. Pay a fine. We're going to be rich. I'm going to fill those coffers so fast. You remember how when Trump fined all of them? He got on, you could watch me. The first one is going to be the pediatric hospital that says Wexner, $10,000 fine for every day that you keep that pedophile's name up there. That needs to come down. Right? At the pediatric hospital. I saying that they engaged? No. Am I saying they did it? No. Because we don't know. Well, maybe some of us did. Right? These are things we should be talking about the records. Thank you. Because they're hot mess. Thank you. The other questions? Yes.
Do you know if Connect or Votum software is being used in Ohio?
Yes, all over Ohio, actually.
All over.
Great question. I wonder, did we put it in the lawsuit last minute? I think we're going to bring that up later, when he responds. Votum actually bought Conic. We have Conic software, which means that the Chinese have our username and password to the, guess what, source code. Ask me when the last time they updated.
2020.
Keep going. You see what I'm saying? So the Chinese have unfettered access. 12, 14, depends what county. And so the Chinese have access to that. The guy's in jail, right? Feds are all over it, and the Rose is like, we are the safest election ever. I'm sending the new PDFs to our new Democrat too, so everybody print them off. Next question. So yes, we have the Chinese everywhere. Yes. Huh?
Is it true that the Dominion voting machines are connected to the internet?
Okay, so internet, very good question. Well, now we get technical. What is a voting machine? Is it the standalone machine that counts the ballots? Is it the iPad that they have to scan you to communicate with the machine remotely, but it's not connected to the internet, of course, to let them know that you're going to vote? Which one? That's a voting system, right? So I'm a little bit confused. They're not on the internet, we're on a repeater. That's a new fancy word for VPN, intranet. Tell me how many of you can't hack an internet? I mean, almost everybody can. All you need is Wi-Fi. And all the poll pads are running on Wi-Fi. Because when you get in there and you check in, they scan your ID, and it's like, ding, ding, message to the machine. Guess what? Sally Mae's coming to vote. And it's like, but that didn't happen with, what are you talking about? It's called the intranet. And we have DHS all over it, so it's really safe. You should trust DHS. Chris Krebs did a great job. Because their report said we have a lot of vulnerabilities, but since they haven't been exploited, it's fine, no problem. And that's why they've been hiding the report since 2017, sealed in a court in Georgia, because there's no problems whatsoever. See? Double speed. It's like we're living 1984 in 2022. But in a more, I feel like I'm on a Ferris wheel, right? Have you ever been on that Ferris wheel when you were a kid and you were like, yeah, okay, it's time to get off because this is moving, because too many people are getting on, and it's scary? And this is like a Ferris wheel in a haunted house with, a crippled cart that has holes in it and maybe only 3 wheels. And you're going downhill and you're like, I want to get off because this doesn't make sense. And everyone's like, no, it's fine, look, we're good. This is the state of our nation and the state of our state. I heard someone talking about householder yesterday. Who was it? Which judge was it? Wasn't it a judge that talked about householder? It was that chief judge. She didn't do anything. It was me in North Dakota, sitting on my computer in my pajamas. And I was like, hey, so there's like this case here with Enron that's like kind of open. Just emailed the court. Can you just tell me what the status is on this? I just want to know, how long do we wait to respond? It's been almost 20 years. Is this just going to stay open? And as I pulled the information, first email, no response. This is 2019, early 2019. Second, well, before that, I actually asked some questions about householder, because he came up on the Clinton Energy Management Services. Well, if you guys look it up, at the same address as Enron. And he's like, nothing to see here either. Clinton Energy Management Services, Enron, same address in Texas. Don't worry about it. It's just coincidence, of course. And DeWine, coincidence, of course. So householder came up. And, when I find stuff, I send it to the FBI first, and then I report it. That's what good reporters do, right? Investigative journalists, they're like anonymously. It's not really anonymous. They know exactly where it's coming from. But the fact that they say you anonymously stated it, for some reason you feel better. They know. They're watching you while you're typing it away. But, So I sent them everything, and then after the court case moved and pushed, they went hard. And it was to cover DeWine's access. And that was scary. Because the fact that the feds would move so quick to protect Mike DeWine and throw Householder under the bus, not saying that he's a saint, but he was like Hunter. You know, he was a front guy, you know, and they're like, you know, he's fat, we don't like him, he's a little bit of a, you know, he's not nice to this person. Let's throw him under the bus. Here you go. We need to keep DeWine, who's starting to look like, what's his name? Carter, Jimmy Carter. He's starting to look like a Smurf, or is it me?
Like he's
Right?
melting.
Isn't DeWine starting to look like, you know, like he belongs in like the Wizard of Oz with like cheeks and curly hair, right? He's starting to get smaller. You know why? Because you're starting to see the truth and they don't look as big as that anymore. You know? I'm telling you, they don't. The minute you stand up firm on your feet, they look like babies. You know? I remember one conversation I had. I was actually quite proud of myself, so I'll repeat it. Because you can't do that. I was like, I know, I was just joking. And he goes, so, how are we going to do this? Do you want a circus? Because I got monkeys. I told him, you want a circus? I got monkeys. Pulled that to his face. He said, well, I'm not involved with it. Just pay the fine of $500 and just comply. You'll be fine. I was like, you want out? Okay, monkeys it is. And he turned around and said, well, I guess your daughter getting into Harvard isn't that much, is it? That was a threat. Like, how did he know that my eldest had gotten accepted into that program? How did he know? That was a threat. But I still ate him for lunch. Well, I didn't. God did. He takes care of our enemies. He does. I know there's not a lot of people that have that faith. I do. If you have faith, everything. And that's why I said, people don't know yet, but I already won. You know, because that's the right thing. The right thing is to have truth. The song said it best. Wars are created wise, therefore peace can happen in truth. No matter how ugly it is. We need it. See me as Cruella de Vil and say things, which is great. Any press is good press. I mean, it's not good, but it is what it is. You know, I'll take it. But what I want is the people to stiffen their spine, and I want everyone to start running for office. Like now. Like you're going. 2023, 2024, you take over your school board, take over your city council. You know, conversation I had today with BBC, right? You know what I said? You know, a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm a patriot, Trump. And I'm like, so who's your city council member? And they're like what? To be a patriot, you've got to be participating in your community. Who's your city council? Just name one. I don't want all of them, just one. And they're just like, what about mayor? Some didn't even know they're mayor. All right, let's go county commissioner. School board, because you got small kids. And they look at you and you're like, but so, I mean, are you like using patriot as like a soft gender term? Because you only look at presidential or maybe Senate and Congress? Like, how do you know, Missouri's guy and Texas senators, but you don't know all of them here in Ohio, left and right? How are you an active member of your community? These are hard questions. People hate it when you tell them that. How dare you? And it's like, am I wrong? I'm just saying. And I know a lot of you in here are like, damn, she's right. I don't know either. And that's okay. Because like I said, we've been institutionalized like that. We've been told to trust them. The media is supposed to report. They're not reporting. They're telling you their version of whatever story they want you to know. They keep calling me QAnon. It's filed in the Supreme Court. Is that a religion? She's a follower. Like, what does that mean? Do I wear a hat? Do I shave? Do I do penances? What does that mean? That I follow. Like, do I wear a robe and roam around behind software? Because that's what Q is, this damn software. There's a damn patent for it. Go look it up. And it's run by really smart people. So I guess now we're all praising software.
Okay, can we get back to the check-in process? Because if you're saying that the iPad check-in,
Yes.
that means we don't have a secret ballot.
No. It's all pretend. Well, it's secret in the traffic.
Right, I know what you're saying.
But they already know the data from before the trial.
They already know what
Thank you.
I just wanted to state that clearly.
Yeah, no, see, this is it. We ask questions and we state the obvious. That was like where the Captain Obvious comes out. Yeah, of course. Because it knows, hey, Jane's coming. Jane puts it in. Jane said she wants so-and-so. And then it's like, we're anonymizing it and then we're going to tally it differently, you know. So nobody knows that it's your book. We're just mixing it up with everybody else's. So they can't see. But they already saw before it went into that black box. Right? It's a trap door. And it's simple algebra. I actually wrote an article about it in 2019, you know, and the funny thing is, Millie was in Kentucky handing over the leaked documents to the governor, and I was on the phone with Highway Patrol because they're like Secret Service for the governor, and the investigator in the room was like, when did you steal the machine? I was like, are you crazy? I came over last night, put in my car, and drove to North Dakota to call you. Are you kidding me? Like, that was the conversation I had. The guy was asking me when I stole the election ballot machine. I was like, dude, I'm in pajamas, okay? I've been online. Like, I am so wired, it's crazy. I've got Google Homes and Alexa for my security, of course. And they're probably tired. They probably put stickers on my camera feed. We don't want to watch anymore, it's fine. But yeah, that actually happened. And that's what happened. The software in there takes your votes. I think there's an article from 2019 that I did where I actually took the time and made a schematic to show people the logic process of the software, of how it does it, right? How it goes in, how it goes into this thing and they encrypt it, and then they encrypt it again, and then they shuffle it, and then they decrypt it, and then they decrypt it again. The shuffling process is an algorithm. So vote A will be C, vote B will be A, you know, and they shuffle. And it's all BS, because on the other end, it's like, hey, Trump got 1.2%, Hillary Clinton got 4.3%. And it's like, wait, okay, so who got the percentage vote? I'm confused. Algorithm. And the way they work, and in 2016, it broke, and they couldn't fix it because they didn't have access. And then DHS got caught in Georgia trying to fix it. Trump was like, Russians! And it was like, 2 days later, oh my bad, it wasn't Russian, it was DHS. Oh, because that makes it better, right? So we had our own federal government in the machines. I would have preferred the Russians to say, oh, right? But what happens is, think of it this way. It's an algorithm that says, in order for Hillary Clinton to win, we've got to make sure she gets so much of the vote because we expect so many voters. But the turnout on the day, that's why they're asking for early voting. So no early voting, vote on the day. Do not vote early, vote on the day. This is why they want early voting, so they can train the algorithm for the day. Okay, we're expecting 100,000. Let's program it for 110 max. Hillary needs to win. So, whatever the outcome is, computer, Hillary needs to win. So all the votes are being done by a computer in there, and as you go, it's churning, right? That's why they come up, suddenly they jump, right? It's a batch, you know, and then it goes. But then when there's too many, and there's more than 110,000 and 200, it's like, do not compute. And then they just go normal. This is why we saw that Trump and Hillary had almost the same amount of votes, and you're like, wait a minute, that's a crazy election. It's a lot of people voting for her. Just like Joe Biden, get out of here. Of course, the mail-in ballots were all his. You know, and then people say, well, it's normal that some people get 0 votes. And it's like, no, it's not. Let's take it this way. Obama elections, right? There were counties in Michigan where he didn't get 1 vote. Statistically. Like, come on. Come on! Not 1? So out of 400,000 people in 1 county in Obama, not 1 dropped an Obama vote? Let's just put it this way. And you know how everyone was like, yep, let's go Obama. Right? He brainwashed everyone with that Facebook stuff. He had a big social media team. How'd that work? Because it was already fixed. You see? It was already fixed. Oh, but Trump's a liar. And it's like, okay, so if you have amnesia, doesn't mean you have to give it to me. You can say whatever you want. You think you're a piece of furniture, and you say that's okay. You say you can marry your cat. Okay, more power to you. You're not going to convince me, though. I don't care what anyone thinks. You're denying elections. No, you are. Because you're perpetuating the fraud. So when people call me an election denier, I'm like, no, I'm an election backer. You're the denier. Because you don't want elections. More questions? I'd like that question.
Whose job is it to that the election machines are certified? And what is the latest with that?
Oh, okay. So, normally, oh, by the way, just so you guys know, when LaRose was elected, he was elected on machines that were not certified. Just making that clear in case anybody has doubt.
Whose job is it to get it?
Okay, so the process is that there's these two independent companies. And keep in mind, there's only two in all of America, which is weird. And they're totally independent. One of them is a defense contractor, but trust him, he's an independent. And one is based out of Alabama. I don't know where SLI Gaming is now. Headquartered out of China, but apparently they're here too. And so what you test the software and the components of the machine independently and say this is working okay, this can pack, this is air gap properly, right? And in order for them to check the machine, they have to be certified by the Electoral Assistance Commission that they're eligible to certify the machine. But there's also that software in that trap door, right? The source code, the one that makes this stuff for your security, of course. That one no one sees. In fact, it goes to, and that hasn't been done for. The software is just like, it's like the OS, Mac OS, you know how you update your OS and it shuts down and then it's like this new pretty thing? But you can not do that and just upgrade your Pages or your Windows browser, your Edge browser, Safari browser. You can update it without the OS being updated, right? Is held in escrow by an, especially when DHS runs the place. Just saying. And that hasn't been done in our state for many years. So we're still running on Lion iOS or Windows 3, while the other software components are Windows 7. So there's two types, the trapdoor. So that's how the process is. So the source code, third party, escrow, nobody sees it, you're not allowed to know. Just turn them, it's good. And then all the other ones are the chipsets, the modems, the interface, the windows, the connectivity. You know, there's where they're all updating. Just connect to the internet and update your app, and it's like, yep, no. And then what you're going to do is when they come in, you scan, and then it communicates with the machine to tell them they're coming. Still no connectivity, right? I thought that we were not supposed to have modems, so I'm a little bit confused. Wasn't it the law that there are no modems in the machine? So then, how is the iPad connecting with the machine? Let me guess. They got Tesla tech and they're not telling us, right? Nikola Tesla, raised from the dead, got it from John Trump. Let's just pull some conspiracy theory and say, maybe through telepathy. Because there's no modems, of course. Because we don't know how that works. The thing is, there's no transparency. And so that's how it's done. We have the VSTLs, the EAC verifies the VSTLs, the VSTL software, but the source code. Source code is in a contract in escrow to a third party, which is not really independent. NCC Group is owned by the British. And guess who sits on the board? Lord Mallet. What can go wrong with that? So, you know, this is the state of our state. These are our elections.
But each electrical, that stuff, the software is supposed to be certified, right?
Yes, the software components, not the source code. It's supposed to be updated. We don't.
Well, we might as well vote by paper then.
Right? You can't have paper. Right? Why do we need DHS agents? You know, I'm thinking we can make it fun.
Yeah.
We take 2 days off, free bus rides, free train rides, shifts. They get paid, but it's free. Hot dogs, fireworks, cameras, so we can watch. Let's see who wins. Let's watch them counting the ballots. Everyone will volunteer, and we'll pay them too. $100 an hour. Come, you watch that place fill up. Right? You watch it fill up. That'll be less than what we're paying now for machines. So why not make a quick $100 and vote and help your county? And this is where you can see it on camera, and we can maybe scorecard it. I don't know, we'll figure it out. I'll ask the public for their input, right? Because we're not at the table when they're making these decisions, right? In fact, Rose just a couple weeks ago said, don't tell them anything about elections because I said so, national security. And you know what he cited? A school shooting bill. Like, I'm sorry, wait, what? Yeah, don't tell him about IPs or anything. You know why? Because he doesn't want you to know that he doesn't own the IPs and that DHS is literally running your elections. So, but he cited national security in a bill that had to do with guns at schools, and I'm like, very confused right now. Just like everyone's like, DeWine, he like canceled elections, and it's like, okay, see, another voter that's not informed. It wasn't DeWine, it was your legislators. Go pull up the tax bill one, I forget the number of it. It was in March that they passed. It was a tax bill, and in there was a sentence that said, you know, they're talking taxes, and then randomly, like one of those random farts at the table when everyone's quiet, it just comes out, and it's like, by the way, if there's a pandemic, we cancel elections. And it's like, DeWine did it. No, those legislators did. The ones that are on the ballot right now asking for your vote. The ones that are telling you, I love my country, I'm a patriot. These executives, they just do whatever they want. DeWine's so bad, and it's like, wait, but didn't you sponsor this tax bill where this is, oh, I didn't see that, but you signed it, and you pushed it. I don't think you need this job. Maybe this is why you suck as a lawyer, and you're playing part-time legislator. That's why. So this is where people need to start getting informed. We need to be calling them the carpet. You need to be in state legislature. You need to, why can't you there? As Secretary of State, we're not going to have primaries. We're not. We're going to have runoffs. They could throw 10 Democrats, 10 Republicans, 100 random people. It'll be a runoff. Top 3 get on the ballot for the seat. That sounds fair, right? That sounds super fair. Oh, you can't do that. Why not? Everyone should have a primary. Why should independents only have 2 months to run? If you decide to put them on the ballot, let's get a runoff. Let's have some real elections where they have to bust their butt to be heard. Bust it. You gotta knock on doors. You gotta go out and talk to people. Let's see how much fun is that. Secondly, you're gonna go to Ohio. An Ohio that doesn't take crap. An Ohio that says, I'm sorry, did you see drag queen night? Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I'm in charge. This is my community. You could take your corporate money and you could go to another state. It's not happening here. That's how we need to operate. We'll work with maybe some communities like that stuff. More power to them. Let them do it. You know, let them have their own. Right? This is what the beauty of America is. It's like we're moving from 31 flavors to everybody, you must be vanilla. Right? 31 flavors anymore. We like diversity as long as it all tastes like vanilla and you say the same words. Do not offend people, and it's like, all right, I'm not using kid gloves with them. And I know I'm going to offend people. And that's okay. Okay. That's okay. Because everybody offends me too. You should see me when I use it. I'm offended. It doesn't even look genuine. I laugh. You know? It's like when someone says, I'm offended. And I exaggerate because I can't say it with a straight face. Because I expect to be offended. Because we're not going to see eye to eye with everything, right? But what we can't do is be honest with each other, right? I can promise you that as Secretary of State, there's going to be no decision, no directive, where I don't have the people involved. And in this day and age, when it is the age of information, there is no excuse that you're not at the table. You know, I have a campaign team. Well, I'm going to have a Secretary of State digital team, where when I speak to the public, they're going to be taking note of every single question there, so that I can address it. Not one will be skipped over. And in fact, if it's something stupid like, you know, I'll mention that one too, right? Even if it's spiteful, I'll mention it. Oh, so by the way, one citizen said, and I'll be like, you know, we should engage with the public because this job is not mine, it's yours. I'm not running, you are. That's the thing. I'm not running, you are. I'm just a person that's okay with being attacked, that's okay with saying things that you want to say, and you're like, I'm not that brave yet, right? That's who I represent, you. And if I represent you, I get your vote. I don't, you need to just vote LaRose and share memes and think it's gonna fix it at some point. By itself. Like syphilis. You need treatment. that was the last commercial I heard on the radio. They said, don't worry, it's not embarrassing, you just need treatment. So this is it. It's like this is like syphilis. It's not gonna go away just because you're not looking at it. You need treatment. Because it'll be there and then your nose falls off and it's not fun. So this is, true story. Not, that's what happened. And don't go petting armadillos because you can actually get it from it. True story. The only zoonotic transferable disease. But anyway. There's my nerd hat coming out with the fun fact. Any other questions?
Okay, so I am very, and I'm sure a lot of other people might have the same question or even thought, because it has been driving me crazy. Why, knowing Trump has been screaming since election night of the election fraud, okay?
Right.
Frank LaRose, what has he said over and over? That we have had the most, what does he say? He says
Safest election
safest
ever.
election in history, right?
He also told Israel that before the election, remember?
Right. So, I love Trump. I am literally, it's a little bit of a session, a little bit of a problem.
He's actually pretty good looking for 78.
I mean,
Like, I'd be like, I'm okay with grandpa.
Yeah, I love him.
I'm just saying.
Trump's a winner. But I was very, very, very confused when he endorsed him.
Who,
Why?
LaRose? Well, because he couldn't endorse anyone else, no one was on the ballot.
Oh.
No one, I wasn't out there, they didn't kick me off, remember? And then when he came on Saturday, that Saturday that just passed.
He didn't endorse him.
Yeah, he didn't endorse him.
He endorsed
just said,
him.
hey, I saw you Secretary of State, great Secretary of State, I won here
He
twice.
endorsed him for
And
the
met
primary.
The other 2 Supreme Court judges, great people, let's move along.
Oh.
That's what it,
So he's really not endorsed by Trump.
he was endorsed during the primary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was.
Why would he just?
And he also said he was the only Republican endorsed. That's a flat out lie. And it's like, come on, Republicans, you hate fact checkers, you fact check them with your research, you're not fact checking this? Like, seriously? I mean, this is nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, I love President Trump too, but he also has people around him that give him bad advice. But he's a smart guy. I get bad advice all the time. I embrace it sometimes. I have bad people around me. Embrace them too. And break bread with their Judas. Because in the end, it's their pants that fall down, not yours. Right? Yours actually look better. You might even lose some money. Yes.
So we've been working the polls the last few years here. What is the purpose of hanging out the papers that have everybody's address and phone number and where they live and what they're registered as and why they if they voted for that? That seems like a huge
Where?
problem.
Apples, you mean?
Yeah, the
So
papers
then
that
would
we
they have them printed out from the BMV?
They come with the packets.
Yeah, okay, so that's probably backup. That's basically it, because now they're using the voting poll book on the iPads.
But then we have to go and print out, there's like, what, times a day we have to go print out new lists to put on there so people can come to the door and see who's voted and who's not voted. I don't understand why.
Paper?
Yes.
What is that? Why? The
I-
computer tells them.
In this one,
Unless they're lying, and they're like, people should be honest. That's weird.
I don't
Because the
know.
computer, if I walk in there and I'm like, hey, I'm here to vote, here's my ID, and then they scan it, which by the way, when you go to the gas station and they scan, and they're like, oh, we're just getting your date of birth, I'm just gonna tell you right now that bullshit.
Yeah.
They got everything. Dental records, VA, anything on that QR code,
Yep.
it's sitting in your gas station, which is totally safe, of course. So anyway, I digress. I just thought I'd throw in that fun fact. When they scan your ID, it comes up on the poll book, and it literally checks you in. And it tells the machine that you're voting. So if I came in again and they scanned it, it should tell them no. So what's the purpose of doing the paper outside?
Well, we were told that it was so if anybody who was running comes by and sees a friend come by and they haven't come in to vote yet, or it doesn't show them voting yet, you can, I don't know, go to their house and get them.
Okay.
Well, that didn't happen in my precinct.
Okay,
On
anybody
primary
else
day.
have it in their, that's not, tell me everybody if that smells weird to you.
That
Okay.
wasn't just the primary. We do that every time I've worked it.
Okay, well, I can assure you, Secretary of State, that's not happening. In fact, you're gonna get print-offs from the BMV, and not only that, even people that are non-citizens, because I was asked this question, right? I think the other day, and it's in that MSN article that they put out today, who's running for Ohio Secretary of State, you know, they asked me about Measure 2. You know what the problem is, why we have non-citizens voting? The BMV, when they print out, they get to tick the box to say no younger than 18, right? And so the names that print out are all over 18. But they can also tick the box on the back end that says non-citizen. It's a pretty simple thing. Your social security number, if you have a driver's license, tells them if you're a U.S. citizen or not. If you're a legal resident alien, undocumented, because they still get driver's licenses. It's like, why aren't they doing that? Ask yourself, why aren't they doing it? We have to pass a bill for common sense. I was like, damn, I pretty much lived in England for 10 years. I should have started voting there. Vote out, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to vote in Germany. I'm not allowed to vote in China, Australia. But we should let everybody and their mother vote in America according to consent. So, any other questions? That's a really good observation. I didn't know that they were, well, like, why would you go buy to see if your friend, but that's creepy, sorry. I don't know.
They do it in Adams County too.
I know Frank LaRosa's people are watching, so why don't you answer the question of the constituents as to why you posted on the wall outside? Does it have the address too?
Yeah, like the
Oh
whole,
my God,
you,
guess what? Everybody can look. Hey,
and
identity
they
theft
print it
is
out
one.
at like 1, or like 8, 9, something in the morning, and then at 1, and then,
Like 1 and 4. or
yeah,
something
you
like that.
print them
I have
again
never
and
heard that
update
before.
it.
It doesn't happen in every precinct, does it?
Should do.
I've worked three different precincts, and it happened to
Does it
all.
happen in all of them?
I
Do
think,
they post it on the
they
windows?
tape it up to the
I
whole.
didn't see it in the 2020 elections when I poll watched.